Hi everyone, Brian here. Early this morning, the power blinked off for a few seconds and then came right back on. Since I was awake anyway, I picked up my iPad and looked at the weather radar to see what had caused it. The radar showed several thunderstorms moving across northwestern Montana, with one of the strongest cells passing very close to my home. You can see my location marked in blue right here along the edge of the Cabinet Mountains. At that point, I wasn't thinking about making a YouTube video. I was simply curious to see what had caused the power to blink. As I watched the radar, I noticed the storm wasn't moving through very quickly. It was drifting across the valley, producing frequent thunder and occasional lightning. That's when I realized I might have an opportunity to capture something special. As I watched the storm move across the radar, I realized it wasn't just passing through. The thunder kept rolling across the valley, and every few minutes another flash of lightning would light up the mountains. That's when I decided I wasn't just going to listen to it, I was going to record it. Instead of setting up microphones and a bunch of recording equipment, I chose something much simpler. I grabbed my iPad. I placed it just outside our sliding glass door where it could stay completely dry, but still capture the natural sound of the storm. Then I pressed record and walked away. At that point, I knew I wanted to capture the sound exactly as it was. I wasn't interested in adding music or sound effects later. I wanted the real storm. So I grabbed my iPad and placed it just outside under the sliding glass door. It stayed completely dry, but it had a clear path to the sound outside. Sometimes we think we need expensive microphones to get good recordings. In reality, having the right sound at the right moment is usually much more important than having expensive equipment. One of the things I've learned over the years is that you don't have to force recordings like this. You don't create the storm, you simply recognize the opportunity when it arrives. Once the iPad was recording, I left everything alone. I didn't stand outside with it. I didn't keep checking on it every few minutes. I just let the thunderstorm be the thunderstorm. That turned out to be one of the best decisions I could have made. When I finally listened to the recording, I had over an hour of completely original thunder. There were quiet moments, distant rumbles, a few spectacular lightning strikes, and plenty of natural variation. There was also one unexpected guest. During the first minute, a mosquito flew right up to my iPad microphone and buzzed so loudly it sounded like a helicopter. Fortunately, that was easy to fix. I simply trimmed the beginning of the recording, and the rest of the hour was exactly what I hoped for. About an hour later, the storm had moved on, and I brought the iPad back inside. First thing I wanted to know was simple. Did it work? I imported the recording into Logic Pro and started listening from the beginning. Almost immediately, I knew I had captured something special. The recording wasn't constant thunder. Instead, it sounded exactly like sitting here in the valley during a real summer storm. There were long, quiet periods, distant rumbles rolling through the mountains, and then every so often a powerful crack of lightning that reminded me just how close the storm had been. That natural variation is exactly what I wanted. Here's what that recording looked like once I imported it into Logic Pro. You can actually see the louder lightning strikes as taller peaks in the waveform, with quieter sections in between. One thing I always do before editing is listen to the entire recording. Sometimes there's an airplane, a passing vehicle, or in this case, a mosquito that decided to inspect the microphone. Fortunately, that was right at the beginning, so I simply trimmed it off and kept the rest. Once the recording was finished, I imported the audio into Logic Pro. You could use another audio editor if you prefer, but Logic is the one I use for all my Brian's Brain recordings. The first thing I do is simply look at the waveform. You can learn a surprising amount before you even press play. The taller peaks usually represent nearby lightning strikes, while the quieter sections are the gentle background rumble of the storm. Just by looking at it, I could already tell this wasn't going to be a constant wall of sound. It had the same ebb and flow that I remembered hearing outside. Before I make a single cut, I listen to the recording from the beginning to the end. It's tempting to jump right in and start editing, but I think it's important to hear the recording as a whole first. Sometimes you'll discover a great moment you didn't remember. Other times you'll hear a distraction that needs to be removed. In this recording, the biggest distraction happened right at the beginning. A mosquito flew directly past the microphone. It was surprisingly loud, but because it happened in the first minute, the fix was simple. I trimmed away that section and the rest of the recording was untouched. After that, I really didn't have much editing to do. One of the goals of Brian's brain is to present real places with real sounds. I don't want every thunderstorm to sound perfect. I want it to sound authentic. If the storm gets quiet for a while, that's okay. Real storms do that. If there's a long pause between lightning strikes, that's okay too. Those quiet moments are a part of what makes the louder moments feel genuine. Once I was happy with the recording, it was time to create the final audio file. In Logic Pro, this process is called bounce. All that really means is exporting your finished project into a single audio file. For my Brian's Brain videos, I keep things simple. I usually bounce the recording as a high-quality PCM WAV file that preserves the quality and gives me a master recording that I can use again in future projects. I give the recording a descriptive name, in this case something like 1 hour steady thunderstorm, and save it in my sound library. Building your own library of original recordings is one of the best investments you can make. Every new recording becomes something you can use over and over again. Once the audio file has been exported, I simply drag the WAV file into iMovie. From there, I can line it up with the image, duplicate it as many times as I need, and build the full 12-hour soundtrack. Because the original recording already sounds natural, there's very little processing left to do. These are the settings I use. You don't have to match them exactly, but this is what has worked well for me. There are plenty of sound libraries available online, and they can be very useful. But there's something different about sitting here months later listening to a thunderstorm that I actually experienced. When I hear this recording, I remember the power flickering, looking at the radar, setting the iPad outside, and wondering if it would capture what I was hearing. To me, that's what makes creating these videos so rewarding. If you have an opportunity to record something unique where you live, I'd encourage you to try it. You may end up with a recording you'll use for years. One of the reasons I've started recording more of my own audio is because it gives me complete creative control. This thunderstorm wasn't downloaded from a sound library. It wasn't generated by software. It's a real storm that I recorded here in northwest Montana. That means I know exactly where it came from, how it was recorded, and that I have permission to use it in my videos because I created it. Building your own library of original sounds takes a little more effort, but every recording becomes another asset that you can use in future projects. There are many excellent commercial sound libraries available, and many creators use them successfully. Just be sure you understand the license for anything you download and keep good records of where it came from. Recording your own audio is another option. Besides creating something unique, you don't have to wonder later where a particular sound originated.